Hello again, guys. This is my second part to the first video I made on digital usage and finances over here, right? The services available. What I want to do is to just extend a little bit more on that and to give a kind of a brief exposure to the physical bricks and mortar banking here too. That might be useful for you, as it was for me. So, sorry, I'm going to keep looking away because I'm looking at my notes as well. So I do apologize for that. Anyway, going back to the two Gcash and Maya, what I found out is very useful, especially if you're in a crowded environment, right? And which generally is the case, because most places you go, you're standing there to pay. There's people behind you. There could be queues. There could be around you, left and right side of you. Say you're at a bus station, or even at say the immigration center. There's people all around you, so they can see things. Is that the difference that I see that stands out for me, and I find it much more user friendly on Maya as opposed to Gcash, is the way you can disguise or hide your balance. In other words, there's like an eye at the side of your balance. You can click on it and it will keep that setting to either display the balance or hide the balance. And you can click between, you can toggle between the two options, right? On Maya, that's a real great security aspect. Gcash doesn't have that. So again, that's a plus side for Maya. Now the other thing is I found as well is speaking to the bank, which I use is PNB, Philippine National Bank, because I find them to be a much more readily available bank when I travel anywhere. I managed to get a bank set up, and because I was only here less than 6 months, they wouldn't take me. They wouldn't actually open an account for me. And here's the strangest thing. It depends on where you go in the Philippines that you can get access to this. Even though there is a set rule, that rule is it's flexible. So you can go to a smaller PNB on another island, and which happened to me, I got my bank account open. If I stayed in Cebu or Manila, it didn't happen. It was weird. Anyway, let's go back to the task at hand. Is that they tend to say you've got to be here for 6 months before you can open a bank account. For most travelers, that's not going to happen. You're only from 3 weeks to a month, right? And then you're gone. But if you're hoping to do a long-term stay here, or you're doing a survey of the area so you can decide if this Philippines lifestyle is going to be your thing, and you're really just putting time in to see if it's going to work for you. Getting this stuff set up to me is a must. It really is. It shows good audit trail that you're trying to take the right steps to secure a lifestyle here. It shows the government or the immigration center that you're serious. You're not just flitting around, right? That you're taking certain important steps and measures to attain the goal, which is to be here, to live, right? So anyway, what I did is I did go to the place in Makati, the PNB Bank, the Metro Bank, several other banks. They wouldn't let me do it because I was on an ACR card. I was already here 3 months and I applied for an ACR card and I got it. But what happens is the ACR card is still a tourist visa, basically. It allows you to stay in the country for 6 months, but you're still a tourist on that visa. Now, the ACR card actually has a yearly life cycle. So in other words, though it says 6 months you need to go and do something, it actually still is valid for a year. So you can go back and renew. You can apply for another 6 months and still be on the same ACR card. That's effectively what you're doing. Now, because I had the card when I went to another island, I showed them. I said, look, I don't know where I stand with this. Can you tell me if I can get a bank account? I spoke to the manager, not to the girls, because they probably didn't know. So I went directly to the manager. I asked to see him. I sat and talked to him. He says, leave me for a while. So he went off and did some stuff, and he came and he said, look, Mr. Jones, we can do that. But what you need to do is you'll need to put down 10,000. 10,000 pesos you need to put into your account, and we can get that set up for you. He says, the other thing is we have to limit what we give you. I said, okay, do tell. He says, we can only give you a painting card, a painting takeout card, book. It's actually a book. Now, the book allows them to put entries in and entries out when you go to the bank, physically go to the bank. Which I thought, okay, it's not great, but it's a way and it's a start. So he gave me the book. I could see the entry of my 10,000 pesos. Within an hour, I had this stuff and I was up and running. And I said, so how do I go about getting an ATM card so I can use this in the future? He says, well, once you've got a residence address or you've got a long-term address here, you have an address that shows your name, you're paying the bills, the utilities, you can then come back and we can work with that and get you a ATM card. I thought, okay, so that's the plan. Now, 3 months later, I went back to another island and I thought, I'll ask again. When I went in there, I asked them, the guy says, wait a minute. He goes in there, he says, yes, Mr. Jones, we can do that. So, hence the reason I'm saying rules should be general across the whole island, but it's not exactly so at all. Anyway, I was issued a book, a newer book, one that actually says I can take money in, take money out at any of the branches, right? Not just the specific branch I've got to go back to. And I said, so do I still get a card? He says, yeah, we can give you a card, but you're going to be looking at, give me a week or 2 weeks and I'll get you a card. And heaven behold, he sent me a message. He said, Mr. Jones, we've got your card. And this is one with a picture, right? You could get one in the office on the same day, which I found out when I was talking to him, without the picture of you, without an identity picture. Just a blank card that shows your name, address, date of birth, the usual stuff, traveler. That's okay. But I wanted one with a picture, so I've got one with a picture, my ID photo. So now I've got that. I've got a bank account with the book as well, which I will then apply later on to get a proper full ATM card so I can take money out all over the place. Um, Now, the other thing is with this is if you're applying for any sort of long-term visas here in the Philippines, they tend to want to see that you're serious and there's validation in merit in what you're doing. So they want to see that you can transfer money from your home city or town or country directly to the bank, not via the digital system, because they think that's part of a fraudulent act that can happen, right? Anybody can send money to you and say it's yours. But if they can see it, it it um, it validates the money's coming from your bank account with your name in your country and arriving here in the Philippine bank account you've opened in your name. That gives you a lot of traction. So this is what I'm planning to do now, is to make sure I get that run up and running, that my bank account can transfer here. Now, having spoken to the manager, another manager, this is an ongoing thing, is that he says, yes, we can do the transfer, we can set it up for you, put in your IBAN and BIC and all that stuff, International Banking Authority number. But he says, we don't know what the banks in your country is going to charge you to transfer it. But I can tell you now, he says, we will charge you $29 for every transfer. So this is a payoff. The, the government wants you to do this so you can apply for SRRV, senior retiree visa of some sort, or another or a longer term one. They want you to do that because they want to validate and verify you are what you who I can't speak, who you say you are from your country. Okay, now that's something you've got to bite the bullet on. So I guess what will happen is I'd probably do that a few times. Transfer, take the hit of $29 each time I do it. But once I've got the visa sorted out, I'm going to stop that and go back to digital stuff. And then from the digital platforms, you can transfer money, you can set up your bank account to work with your digital account. And then you can just transfer internally, or I should say domestically, from your digital Maya or Gcash straight into your bank account. So that's another way around it. So I hope that helps with that one, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see what else I can do regarding the banking system, digital stuff. And I hope this really is useful for you as you're considering coming here.